Hello all, my name is Tim and we are here today to tell you about the Black Flag Company case. We will take a look and analyze the company's background and will help the company make the right future choice. Before starting, I would like to introduce you to my colleagues, Sarah, Victoria, Karen, and Joel. Now I would like to tell you something about the company's background. The company is owned by Rob and Kathy Kelly. They sell a vodka cooler made from local Canadian ingredients. The company is operated in Ontario, has one full-time employee and 10 part-time employees, and is currently selling in 1/3 of the LCBO stores. Black Flag Company came to our consulting group and asked us about a future choice. They are currently debating whether they should introduce a new flavor regarding the already vodka cooler, or if they should introduce a new product called spiked ice. The spiked ice would be a ready-to-freeze vodka cooler. Our company analyzed Black Flag's background and helped them come to the right choice, whether they should introduce a new flavor or a completely new product. I would now like you to introduce you to our agenda. First, we will talk about the key success factors. We will address different components the company has to do in order to succeed in the near future. After this, we will talk about an internal analysis. We will look about the strengths and the weaknesses of the company. After this, we take a look at an external analysis. We will look at the opportunities and the threats the company is facing at the moment. Following this, we take a look at different exhibits and take a look at different parts of the company that made us come to our final conclusion. After this, we take a look at different alternatives. We look at the pros and cons of introducing new flavor or introducing a completely new product. After this, we give our recommendation and tell the company what we believe is the best choice for them to do in the near future. After this, we talk about the implementation and how the company should implement our recommendation and what the company should do in order to be the most profitable. After this, we talk about the control and feedback and how the company can track their success and see if our recommendation is working. And then lastly, we will talk about a contingency plan, what the company can do if our plan wasn't to work. And that it's kind of like a plan B, and what the company has to do and how the company can check whether our recommendation is working. I would now like to hand it over to my colleague, Sarah.
Thank you, Tim. I will now address the key success factors. These are factors that the company must meet in order to be successful. To begin, the company should define the target market in order to drive traffic to the product. A strong target market would be ages 19 to 30 years old. Keep advertising flashy, fun, and safe. This age group is most likely to purchase coolers due to the flashy packaging and fun taste. Secondly, maintain a good relationship with your customers, stay in contact with users, provide benefits to loyal customers, offer samples of new products, promote safe drinking. Additionally, provide feedback surveys to monitor customer satisfaction and recommendations. Ensure advertising is relevant and attractive. Provide viewers with facts, images, and common appeal. Emphasize on your company's strong core values such as Canadian ingredients, reliable packaging, and unique product. Make sure your customer trusts your product and advertise that your company supports safe drinking. Create simple and achievable goals, focus at one goal at a time, and invest time and money into reaching your goal to ensure success. Next slide, please. I will now continue with the internal analysis, beginning with strengths of Black Flag Beverage Company. This company has outsold many national brands. They have had high profit in less than a year of operations. The owners seem to be very motivated and excited about the product. Factory location ensures maximum exposure to the public. Products have been made with Canadian ingredients. They are more unique than the competition, and they are available all year round in LCBO stores. Finally, they have received good customer reviews so far, and the sales have been steadily increasing. Continuing with the weaknesses. So this brand is only in 1/3 of LCBO stores. If they were to create a new flavor, there would be risk of cannibalization. The company currently has no previous experience in creating a new flavor. The business is currently small and expensive to lease, and the company is responsible for arranging its own sales and promotions. Next slide, please. I will now discuss the external analysis of Black Flag Beverage Company. So the current opportunities are cooler sales have grown by 300% in the last 2 years. They have the opportunity to finalize a deal to put a branded lounge inside of a sporting arena. Also, LCBO encourages Black Flag to expand. They have also increased product distribution and could boost sales levels by 50 to 75%. Next up, the threats that the company is currently facing. As of right now, there's only one importer of beer, wine, and spirits in the province, which is LCBO. Orders can be pretty sporadic during the summer months. They could often triple. Also, other companies produce a wide variety of flavors. I will now introduce my colleague Victoria to continue to the next section of the presentation.
Thank you, Sarah. I'm going to be continuing with the presentation. First, I'm going to start with process analysis, and with that, I'm going to talk about steps to create product, staff, bottlenecks, machinery, and improvements. The process to create the final product takes up to 26 hours. The time creates restrictions for how much of the product can be sold and if they will run out of stock. The steps entail a mix and stir portion, which takes about an hour and a half, then the cooling process, which is 5 hours, a carbonate process for at least 3 hours, testing the alcohol percentage to make sure it is only 7% for about 3 hours, and finally bottling the product, which is 12 hours. Boundaries of the company include employment staff as well as machinery. There is only 1 full-time employee and 10 part-time. Machinery includes 3 mixing tanks, which are 1,600 liters, and only 1 bottling machine. The bottling machine is the major bottleneck in the corporation. Next coming the cooling process. The company can improve these bottlenecks by creating another alternative for a bottling machine or buy more equipment to cut down the time. They could also hire more staff, especially if deciding to implement another flavor or create the frozen ice product. With these inefficiencies, if a stoppage occurs, the product will not be able to become customer ready because there's so few employees and tanks. To improve this, the company needs more staff and more reliable equipment. Next slide, please. Next, I'm going to be talking about utilization and the strengths. There is uniqueness, size, a product for the natives, the base vodka recipe, as well as capturing the LCBO's desire. Starting with uniqueness, Kelly's recipe is really different from all other vodka coolers available in Ontario. It comprises real cranberry and blueberry juices, and adding to that, the cooler does not use any chemical sweeteners, which makes it 5 times less sweet than any other coolers available in the market. The spiked ice would be the first of the frozen drink. Next, size. The product consisted of a package of 4 400 milliliter bottles, which is 25% larger than any other vodka coolers available in the province. After that, a product for the natives. The company made sure that the product gets accepted by all the natives. The name blackfly is taken from a small flying insect indigenous to the northern regions of Canada. Also, the ingredients used in the manufacturing are all natural, local, and identifiable to the local public. Next is the base vodka recipe. Kelly developed a strong vodka recipe which provides a new base for the development of new recipes by the addition of new flavors. And lastly, capturing the LCBO's desire. After the success of the first product, the Kellys decided that the second product be non-competing. The concept is inventive and with creative packaging and non-breakable, environmentally friendly containers. Next slide, please. And continuing with utilization, the weaknesses, there is duration of a cycle, failure to utilize the base recipe, employees and the factory, as well as failure to expand the reach. Starting with duration of the cycle, the factory makes 1,000 bottles per hour and still takes 26 hours to complete a cycle of 12,000 bottles. The process involves 14 hours of mixing and 12 hours of bottling. Failure to utilize the base recipe. The Kellys have a strong vodka-based recipe, failed to improvise in bringing new flavors into the market. Hence, they were not able to reach the population who were not very fond of the new mix. Next is the employees and the factory. Blackfly had just 1 full-time employee and 10 part-time workers, who worked 5 days and nights straight to achieve the basic sales needed to help the company. Efforts were not made to hire new employees and increase the production rate. The factory setup does not allow both vodka cooler and spiked ice to be prepared at the same time. And lastly, failure to expand the reach. Having worked 5 days a week all day round, Blackfly failed to reach more than 30% of the LCBO outlets. And now I'm going to hand the slideshow off to Karan.
Thank you, Sarah. My name is Karan, and I'll be going to talk about the alternatives, recommendations, and implementations inside the Blackfly company. One of the better alternatives is basically the launch of a new flavor that will indeed help in boosting up the corporate sales. Also, there should be steps taken to lower the production cost within the company. Blackfly spends a lot of money into production process, which doesn't help. Also, the development of spiked ice, the new flavor, should be made and evaluated. Even being seasonal, spiked ice has the USPs of conquering the market. Can I have the next slide, please? Thank you. Recommendation. We must actually introduce new cooler flavors and advertise to the target market. Use profits to improve production process and reduce the bottlenecks as well as possible. Next slide, please. Moving into implementations. The implementations can be basically divided into three: short term, medium term, and long term. As in long term, we see through the future of the company. While evaluating short term implementations, we should begin production of the new cooler flavor and release advertisements at LCBO stores to attract customers and ensure sales. Also, hire 2 full-time workers to work in the factory to speed up time spent cleaning and testing. That helps a lot. Attach customer reviews and information slips on packaging to gain customer feedback and increase publicity. And to ensure all advertising promotes safe drinking and responsible consumption as well. And we'll move on to the medium term implementation. These are more of 2 to 8 months duration. We should continue with branded launch and supply samples to customers and encourage their feedback. We should also create a social media page to advertise to college students over the age of 19. Stay up to date on possible events where sales may increase. Hire seasonal workers during busy months in the summer to keep up with the sales as well. Moving on to the long-term implementations, probably to invest in a second bottling machine to cut bottling time in half and double penetration. Produce a spike ice once the company has positive cash flow and when the business has product in at least 2/3 of the LCBO stores. Thank you, and now I'm handling this to Joel.
So next, for control and feedback, we need to make sure we are getting feedback from both the customers and the LCBO, so we can ensure that we are getting the most feedback that we can, and if we need to change anything, we can do so. And to hand out many surveys, again, to help us make decisions on whether we should introduce the second flavor of the cooler or not. And handing out free samples and asking the consumers to fill out a survey in return it's almost like a win-win situation. So where we can get the consumers' input on whether we should do a second flavor or not, and they also get a free sample, so it's literally a win-win situation. So it also builds awareness surrounding the flavor and gets back the feedback it needs. So next we'll move on to contingency. So multiple surveys to the market to identify which flavor the market is wanting the most, and creating the flavor the market seeks the most. So this is important to do what the customer asks instead of doing what we think is right, because if we do what we want to do, then the consumer might not buy it. And at the end of the day, it's the consumer buying the product. And to eliminate the risk, so by introducing a second flavor, we are taking a little bit of a risk. However, if we get consumers' input on the matter, if people seem to enjoy the flavor, then we know it won't flop, which is a lot less risky than just introducing it to the market right away without any advertising or awareness or anything. And the new flavor, doing all these will ensure the new flavor will sell well, because we know that our first flavor sold well, and if people are producing positive inputs about this second flavor, then there's a good chance that the new flavor will sell well. So there's our references, and basically thank you Thank you through the hard times for taking the time to mark our presentation.